From Backus there. I know you've talked the last couple of media availabilities about him earning his opportunity and taking advantage of it. That homer that he hit to tie it, that another example of that?
Yeah, I mean, he's earned more than he's gotten or probably ever will get if you're basing it on being a teammate, work ethic, overcoming adversity, but really just starting today as a reward for his effort. I mean, that's a really good catch he made up against the wall in Lexington, and then a couple other balls he tracks down because he's athletic and he wants to be out there. And then probably the biggest thing was it hit a couple homers. The wind's blowing out, and Kirby did an unreal job for us and did exactly what we needed him to do and wanted him to do: throw strikes and eat up a bunch of innings the way he did. But he gives up a couple homers in the course of that, and I mean, Backus almost took down that center field wall twice. I had to go back and watch it on video, but Stove, our video coordinator, he said, he about ran through that dang wall. And so that effort, earned him tonight, which was a reward to get out there and play, and he certainly took full advantage of it. But he's going to take advantage of any opportunity he gets, and like I said, he's earned as many as you can imagine.
Marcus Phillips got his first taste of SEC and then came back and did well tonight. And then Andrew Binky, the bounce back. What'd you like about those two guys tonight?
The fact that Marcus was able to accumulate some reps, and now in the big scheme of things, he's accumulated some reps. He's been out there with some consistency as of late, and that's really what he needs. I mean, the stuff is there, the mentality's there when he selects it to be or chooses it to be, but the amount of reps there was key. And then Banky, we used him and Billy as examples out there of, team-wise, those guys are unbelievable teammates. They're going to be as happy as it gets. And Billy had a huge hit there in the mix, but if you ask both of them if they wanted to do better as individuals, and there's other guys like that too, they'd say yeah. And so don't talk about it, be about it. They certainly were.
What were your thoughts on Dylan Lloyd today? How do you play?
He did well. I mean, we wanted to go once through the order. The Thursday game, it's our first Thursday game. They come in a variety of different ways at different times, and it affects things. It's great to be in our league, and it's great to have the media exposure, but it's a little bit of a challenge. And so with Kentucky's lineup combined with the Thursday game, we're a little short on options today. And so we needed guys to do what Dylan Lloyd did and log some innings. And the leadoff hitter is a good hitter, but he only saw one pitch from him. So he gives, gets another ground ball. We just didn't quite make the play. And then the next two guys were lefties. He had struck out. They were going to be his last two guys no matter what. So he could have finished, at a 45 pitch count and a day that he was incredibly happy with. But the good thing is I think there was a lot to be happy with, and then also some things to learn from there, which is what he's trying to do overall. And I hope he feels good the next couple of days so we can write him down and he's available this weekend. And if not, he'll be getting the ball again real soon.
What do you know about Missouri, some of the challenges that they're going to bring here this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a real balanced lineup, similar to Kentucky's: two switch, two left, a handful of righties is their typical lineup. So a similar look with that balance. They've been pitching it well, in particular at game twos. But overall, just they're playing the game the right way. I mean, Carrick Jackson replaced me when I left Missouri, and he had been doing all kinds of stuff in the baseball world. He's now the head coach there, and Coach Jameson, who I played for and I owe a lot to, is now the pitching coach. And Bryson LeBlanc recruits for him. I recruited Bryson. So not only a familiar jersey, but familiar faces. And those group chats and things like that, I choose to not be a part of because I'm this guy. But there is, some communication that goes around, and I'm glad, that group of people are happy, and I'm glad those guys are there as coaches. I mean, it may work against us this weekend because, like I said, they're playing hard and playing the right way. And, I went on a tangent out there with our guys. I mean, so longer answer. Personally, selfishly, I'm glad they're there. I'm glad that other thing's over with. That was a night, I worked 90 hours a week at that place, and I went to school there and gave it about everything that I do here, I did there. And while that other regime was there, you name it. My dad was in a life-threatening car accident, and I'm getting yelled at in the third base box. Many other things too. So I'm glad that's over with, and there was a change. So we'll welcome those guys in here, but when the game starts, it'll just be like it was in Lexington or the weekend before against LSU. There's a lot of respect in this league, everybody has for each other. But when the game starts, the game starts.
With the opener the last 2 weeks, it's benefited Causey. Stamos, I imagine, would have liked to have it gone better the second time around. How do you balance kind of both of those situations with seeing it benefit Causey and then maybe needing Stamos to bounce back if you're going to continue to roll with that?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think this weekend's different. Your question makes sense, and it's an intelligent one, and one that I wish we had exact answers for. But I think this is a little different because of the Thursday bump up and how some guys are throwing the ball too. So, and the one thing that we kind of looked at too, and sometimes you oversmart or think you're smarter than you are. Matchup wise kind of matters a little bit too. And while we do know a fair amount about Missouri, we haven't kind of dove into it full speed. We haven't at all. It's just now that we're deeper into the season, if you're on, ESPN or anything, you're going to know about these SEC teams to an extent. And like I said, I got some familiarity. It's where I'm from, but we'll kind of look at matchups and reassess how these guys look. And Stom was hot tonight. Was going to be a safety valve there for a couple different innings. But fortunately, those guys at the end of the game are really good. I mean, Marcus we already talked about, but Matt Dallas was outstanding, and JJ was just as good, if not better.
Tony, you've been a guy who's been a head coach at a program in your first year, trying to kind of fix a culture and change some things and get some things going in a different direction, get results while playing in the SEC. How difficult is it to manage all of that in your first year when you're building things?
Yeah, it's hard in general. I think the easiest way to put it in perspective is what if you bounce to just year 4? It's hard. I mean, Mississippi, we had great conversations with them and have a lot of, speaking of having respect for that coaching staff. They've been around a long time and done a lot of things, but the year after they win the national championship is a really challenging one. So they're all challenging. And then you're going to throw in the fact that you're not as familiar with your personnel, maybe for what you like. I mean, everyone's going to inherit decent players, if not really good players, because of our league, but maybe it's not the setup that fits the way you're going to, coach, or the style of offense you want to run. So it shows you how much it complicates it, because even when you've been recruiting the same way and you've been at the same school for 10 years, each year you're looking into SEC play, it's holy hell. So you can times it by 3, 4, 5, or whatever you think the appropriate math is, but it's very, very difficult. And, like anything, you have to be persistent. And, those guys are good dudes there, and, so are the guys down at Alabama. I know it's their first year working through that, but it's a tall, tall task. And those were, not that this wasn't stressful tonight. We were bad news bears there for a top half of an inning, but that was high alert, high stress, whatever we had when we weren't supposed to go outside, orange threat or whatever, terrorism. We were on super red or whatever the worst color is every day here that first year.